Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So in today's video it's going to be the sub 1 minute Grim Reaper build for Bunny. So let's get right on into it. Big disclaimer, this does require an ancestor module. If you try this without an ancestor module, you'll still get around about minute and a half runs, but if you want to consistently be under 1 minute, you need an ancestor module. So I will talk about the ancestor module at the end of this build segment. So let's get right on into it. Starting off mid-air maneuvering, you're just going to use this to fly nice and quickly, so on and so forth. And then for our red module, we are going to be going with electric charge. This is just so that, you know, when they do spawn the annoying little fishes everywhere, you can just jump and nuke them. Now, for being the fastest, you do need a critical hit build. So we are going to go in immediately with literally all 4 crit mods, emergency measures and front lines as well. So you're going to go in with all 4 crit mods for Bunny immediately. Now, I will give you the option of HP, so don't worry about that. So we'll go through with that in a little bit of a minute. Now, the way that the Bunny beam works is that you want to have very high skill cost, or you want to build up as much skill cost as you can. So your skills basically cost, well, let's be honest, nothing. Final Wish is also an essential to this. So when you use your 4th ability, your skill cost goes down, but your skill power also goes down as well. So yeah, that's going to be another big thing. So this is what you will be wanting on your build anyways. Then for here, we want to focus on our skill power. So we're going to go with maximize skill. Let's maximize power. I'm blind. There you go. Maximize skill to cover up for some of the damage loss that you're going to get off this. And then this would be where you would want to go with a little bit more damage. So you can either go with Spear and Shield, or you can go with Electronic Synctium, or hell, even Electric Integration. Oh wait, no, sorry, that replaces front lines. I'm tweaking, my bad, wrong one. Electric Synctium, yeah, there you go. You can either use either one of these. It is back and forth in testing. Sometimes I've done better with Synctium, sometimes I've done better with Spear. And then this is where you can either use HP amplification if you are doing this with a if you're doing this without an ancestor mod, which honestly I would not recommend. And then for an ancestor mod, this is where you would also place it in as well. And for this, I recommend crit rate and crit damage is going to be your absolute best friend. You'd also want skill cost on here. If you get good skill cost, what you are able to do is take Final Wish off completely, and then you can put another damage module. So you can put Spear and Shield over there, or you could put high powered wave release, which gives you more crit rate along with more crit damage. So for your ancestor, you 1,000,000% want crit rate at a minimum. Crit damage is a very nice pleasant bonus. Skill cost is also good. Fusion skill power boost ratio would also help you out. Negatives can be like basically anything as long as they don't affect the build, is the only thing I'd say. You can kind of figure it out based off what we see in the gameplay. For the actual trigger mod though, you're going to want a wave eruption. So the main stat is the second stat. The damage reduction is also a nice thing to have. So having a higher stat one would be nice, like this 27 over here. But this has 110 on the lower stat, which is your damage. So you're going to want to run that one anyways. So let's get on into the rest of this setup. So next up, we've got the reactor. But before we do that one real quick, we are going to throw the weapons on here. So because this is a crit setup, we are going to be going with the Blue Beetle. Now for the reactor, Electric Fusion is going to be the best. And then for your substats, you can go with damage to Colossus, Fusion, or crit damage. Any one of those 3 stats in any formation would be ideal. I would suggest Fusion and Colossus overall though. It can go back and forth, but you know, this is what I would go with. For the external components, we're going to be going with 2 2-piece sets. So we will be going with 2 pieces of Ascending along with 2 pieces of Mage. Now, with these, it's fairly simple. You'd want max HP and MP recovery out of combat or fire resistance, max MP or MP recovery in combat. Then you'd want MP recovery modifier and defense, and then max shield and toxic resistance is also kind of nice over here. For all of your substats on your cores, your cores on your external components, you'd want HP, and I'm using the wrong one, you'd want to use HP, and yeah, that's pretty much it with defense. You could use toxic resistance as well, but it's a little bit of an optional. I think toxic resistance would be better for challenge mode and stuff, but defense also works out quite nicely. Next up, let's have a look at the Arcane tuning tree for Bunny. Now, the Arcane tuning tree is fairly simplistic. You can go down here, go up here, go down here and grab that. Then you go up and grab crit rate, along with go up here and grab crit damage. Now, electric release is easier to use if you're struggling. Grab a little bit of skill power. Electric release is easier to use if you're struggling and stuff like that, but if you want maximum damage, you use fusion damage conversion. This will 100% be playing with your life a little bit more because you need to take 30% of damage, but this is the fastest if you want to be like full speed for everything. If you don't mind being a little bit slower but you just want consistent and clear results, I would recommend an electric release for that. I personally do prefer fusion damage conversion, so that's what I'm going to go with. Now for the weapons, again, it's just a blue beetle. The stuff on here really doesn't matter. The defense on here can be kind of nice, and you're not really changing your weapons anyways unless you run more than one beetle. So that's pretty much it. This is here for the crit buff that I can provide whenever you use a fusion ability like Bunny's first or her fourth ability. And for inversions, we are going to go with the movement speed because the blue beetle does not have brisk walk, and then we're just going to go with the HP, cellular stimulation over here, and pain suppression again for HP. Now, let me show you the runs from here anyways. So first of all, let me show you what happens when you run a good ancestor mod in here. So with a good ancestor module, this is what you would expect. Sorry about the quality being kind of cooked. I was streaming and this is just a clip from the VOD, so it does look like crap. Over here you can see it just diving in, going all in, and then basically just beaming, and it's just crit fishing. You can also use stuff like the unpredictable set for a skill power buff and stuff like that, or if you do get a really good skill cost on your ancestor mod, even Slayer set, stuff like that as well. But this is what I would recommend for people. Another little tip is if he does go onto elevated ground, just stay underneath him. His rings won't touch you, just like that. And it's basically just about fishing and, you know, just shooting the boss, and honestly, that's pretty much it. If you want to get consistent sub 1 minutes though, you do need a very good ancestor mod with crit rate on it at a bare minimum, for fusion and crit damage. So this is kind of how it works. Now let me show you what happens, because this run overall as a clear run was 49 seconds. This is the run that put me at number 1 on the leaderboard at the time. I'm pretty sure I have been beaten now by people using said fishing methods, but that was a 49-second run over here. Specifically, you can see that right there, a 49-second run. The time here is an important factor, so let's focus on that. Now here is a run of myself running this. However, I was not using a ancestor mod in this gameplay, just to show you how cooked the difference is when you don't get your crits. So let's have a look at this as well. So you can see here I've got the same setup, the same buffs. Boom, we're going in with the beam. With the blue beetle and stuff like that, your crits are fairly similar. Your crit damage is of course lower, but your crits are similar and they are there for sure. Again, he's going onto elevated ground, but once your blue beetle beam, or once your blue beetle buff kind of wears down, your crits are, well, they're not very consistent. And ideally you do want to have a ancestor to back this up, but you can see over here the crits come and go. And with Bunny, she does have about a 40% crit rate without the ancestor mod buffing, but with the ancestor mod it goes all the way up to 70 plus crit rate, so that's another thing to mention. And as you can see here, the time, we've already hit about the 49-second mark, and we've just about nuked his shield, so you can see what I mean in terms of here. Without an ancestor mod, it's definitely slower and way more based off fishing, and the rest of this run literally doesn't even matter because, you know, you're just going to be running, jumping, doing the same damn thing with it, which is why I would recommend HP. Now, the biggest thing out of all of this, I know you might just be thinking that, well, why would you bother doing this if it's so back and forth and it's so this and it's so that? That's completely fine, and I can understand that. But the truth being told, if you are struggling or you just want to use the non-crit variation of the build, use this from my other YouTube video called the Easy Bunny Grim Reaper build. This is a non-crit variation of the build as well, so you've got the non-crit setup here, which is nice and easy for you as well, so you can go through with that. As for your gameplay, this is what you'd expect out of the non-crit setup. This is, again, it's consistent, and with this one, with this version of the setup, you have 2 HP mods, so a lot less things can go wrong. So I would highly recommend using the non-crit setup. And even in this gameplay, with immunity phases and everything all in play, I still hit a sub 2-minute run, which is around about what you would get if you were crit fishing. Yeah, I think overall the non-crit setup is a very good setup to run, especially if you just can't be bothered with the hassle of ancestor mods. And I've made it very easy and very friendly for people. 20k HP is plenty in a boss fight, and as long as you just watch and follow what I do, you shouldn't have any problems. If you do, please do let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to respond to everyone. But you can see here, there's about 40 seconds gone off the clock, and I've already nuked his HP. Oh, sorry, nuked his shield, which is again slightly better than the crit build. You definitely want to back the crit build up with an ancestor mod, otherwise Bunny's not worth it in solo. And if you want to go through with the non-crit variation, that would be the more superior one for solo, like I said, if you don't have the ancestor. But you can see here, even with this, it's a nice simple fight. I'm just taking my sweet time with it. I'm barely even taking any damage, and even immunity phase. So if you follow the way that I've done this, you won't even run out of MP in the his phases and so on and so forth. And then it's genuinely just about fishing his phases like this, making sure you do the mechanics. The mechanic on this is literally just, you know, stand inside of the circle, or stand inside of the one that's glowing orange, and then once you knock him down, he'll be down for the count, and you can just finish him off. You can turn your final wish down if you want to risk it and have your beam a bit shorter, but you know, you see how it is with this boss. And in this run, I got a 1 minute 50 second run, around about 1 minute 50. So you can see in general, this is it's consistent, it's easy, and I was just vibing whilst doing it. Yeah, 1 minute 49, and at the time this put me 10th on the leaderboard, but that doesn't matter now. So this is what I would recommend when it comes to the bunny setup, when it comes to bossing. I know a lot of people dislike the fact that this is RNG based and stuff like that, if you want to get good clear times and stuff, but that's kind of what the ancestor mods are, and I'm fine with that, and a lot of people are not, which I can understand. But it ultimately does come down to this. Grim Reaper is the highest content in the game, and you kind of do need the best things to go up against him and get a nice clear time. So yeah, that's pretty much everything, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, please smash that like button, and if you're new here, please do consider subscribing. I make plenty of videos on the first Descendant, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!